My savings account had $847 in it the month I decided to save $20,000. Not because I was broke, because I was doing what approximately 42% of Americans do: moving money in, spending money out, ending the month with roughly what I started with, and calling that a savings account because technically there was money in it, and technically it was an account. Savings account, singular, $847 on a $65,000 salary, which, if you run the math, means I had saved 1.3% of my annual income across however many years I had been an adult with a salary. The math on that is not a crisis. The math on that is just a very long description of what the default behavior produces. My friend Tasha had a different approach. Tasha had a cryptocurrency portfolio, a dropshipping store, and a Substack about building wealth mindset that he had updated 3 times in 18 months. Tasha also had $847 in his savings account. Tasha and I had arrived at the same place by completely different routes. This was the most statistically impressive thing either of us had done with money. This is not a story about a viral side hustle. This is not a story about an inheritance, or a bonus, or a market run that turned $500 into $50,000. This is a story about 3 specific decisions made on a $65,000 salary across 19 months that moved the number from $847 to $20,000. In order. On a Tuesday. Here is what $65,000 actually looks like after taxes. Take home is approximately $4,340 per month. The average American saves 5.1% of their income. 5.1% of $4,340 is $221. $221 per month. At that rate, $20,000 takes roughly 7.5 years. Not because the salary is wrong, because the default behavior is producing 5.1%. And 5.1% is what you get when you spend first and save whatever is left. The default behavior is not a spending problem. It is a sequencing problem. The money comes in, the money goes out. The savings account gets whatever survives the month. Surviving the month is not a saving strategy. It is the absence of one. Tasha, at this same moment in our lives, was researching whether to invest his side hustle revenue into a second Substack or a print-on-demand store. Tasha's Substack had 11 subscribers, 4 of whom were his mother. I am not making this up. I was at his apartment when he showed me the analytics. 4 of 11. One of them was definitely his mother because she had left a comment that said, "This is so good, sweetie." Tasha said she was an early adopter. The 7.5-year timeline is not permanent. It is what the default produces. Change the sequencing and the timeline compresses. The 3 decisions that follow changed mine from 7.5 years to 19 months. Decision 1. The most boring decision with the highest return. I set up an automatic transfer of $800, just under 20% of take-home, to a high-yield savings account, scheduled to leave my checking account the day after every paycheck hit. Not the end of the month. The day after payday. Before I had looked at the balance. Before I had decided whether I needed anything. Before I had opened any apps. The first month I noticed the $800 was gone from checking. I did not feel poorer. I felt approximately the same, because the $800 had never been in my spending account long enough to feel like spending money. It had been reclassified before I could reclassify it myself. Tasha called that month to tell me he had pivoted his dropshipping store to focus on a different niche. He had decided his original niche, which I cannot legally describe because it was so specific, was not the right fit. The new niche was also very specific. I asked how the sales were going. Tasha said he was still in the setup phase. Tasha had been in the setup phase for 6 months. I told him about the $800 transfer. Tasha said that was too conservative. Tasha's checking account balance at that moment was $340. Decision 1 is not about discipline. Discipline fails. Automation does not fail. The $800 left before the decision about whether to spend it could be made, which means the decision never happened, which means it was never lost to the decision. Month 3 is when I made the second decision, which I should have made at the beginning but didn't because I was doing what most people do with high-interest credit card debt, not thinking about it specifically. The card had $3,200 on it at 24.99% APR. While I was saving money in a high yield savings account at 3%, I was simultaneously losing money to a card at 25%. The net on that arrangement was negative 22%. I was, in financial terms, making a very confident bet that the wrong thing would happen. I split the $800 automatic transfer, $400 to the HYSA, $400 to the card as an extra payment on top of minimums. The card was gone in 8 months. The $800 per month went fully back to savings immediately after. Tasha launched his print-on-demand store in month 3. He had designed 12 products. The store had 3 sales in the first month, 2 of which were from accounts he believed were his relatives being supportive. I asked which relatives. He said he wasn't sure, but the IP addresses were from the same area as his aunt's house. I told him about the credit card. He said he preferred to focus on income rather than debt. Tasha's credit card balance was $4,100. His savings account was $212. The credit card was not a debt problem. It was a negative return investment I had been maintaining without realizing I had made a choice. Paying it off produced a guaranteed 25% return on every dollar applied. No index fund returns 25%. The card went first. The balance is $5,200. The card is gone. The automatic transfer is back to the full $800. And in month 7, I made the third decision, which should have been the first decision, but chronologically was the third. I moved the HYSA to an institution that actually paid a meaningful rate. My bank's savings account was earning 0.03%. I moved the whole balance to an online HYSA, earning 3% in 2026. The difference on $5,200 is not life-changing monthly. It is $13 in month 1. What it is $13 that appeared without any action on my part. And $13 that appeared without any action is different from $0 that appeared without any action in a way that is disproportionate to the amount. Tasha relaunched his store in month 7 with a new name, a new niche, and a new brand identity he had paid someone on Fiverr $120 to design. The store made $0 in month 7. Tasha said he was still building brand awareness. I asked Tasha if he had a savings account. Tasha said he had liquidity through his inventory. His inventory was 200 phone cases in a box under his bed. I told him about the HYSA. He said 3% wasn't worth it. Tasha's actual bank savings account was earning 0.01%. Tasha's savings account was earning less than the error margin on a rounding calculation. The HYSA rate is not the point. The point is that $13 appearing without action is the first time money has ever worked in the same direction as the habit. And the habit needs money moving in the same direction to survive past month 7. Month 12, balance $9,600. I had saved $9,600 in 12 months on a salary where, at the default 5.1% rate, I should have saved $2,652. I had saved 3.6 times the default output without a side hustle, without a market event, without a windfall, by changing the sequencing. Month 12 is also the month I stopped checking the balance frequently. Not because I was confident, because checking it less frequently was the only thing I could control that made a material difference. Every time I checked it, and it was slightly higher, I had an urge to celebrate. Every celebration is a spending event waiting for a justification. I checked it once a month. On the same day, I confirmed the automatic transfer went through. The rest of the time, the account just ran. Tasha launched a third business in month 12. I had stopped asking what it was. I asked about his savings. He said he was between financial strategies. Between financial strategies is a phrase that, after 12 months of specific decisions, I recognized as the professional way of saying the number is approximately $847. I did not say this. I said, that sounds like a good time to think things through. Tasha agreed. Tasha bought a book about building a personal brand. The book cost $18.99. Tasha put it on his credit card. Month 12 is where most people either succeed or spend. The balance is large enough to feel like an achievement and small enough to feel like it deserved a reward. It does not deserve a reward. It deserves month 13. Month 19, $20,047.83. The $47.83 is 19 months of compound interest on a 3% HYSA. It is not $47.83 of excitement. It is $47.83 of proof that the account was doing something while I was doing other things. And the $47.83 at this scale is the signal that at a larger scale, it would be doing something worth paying attention to. I did not tell many people when I hit $20,000. Not because it was a secret, because the kind of people who would find it interesting were already doing something similar. And the kind of people who would find it surprising were Tasha. I told Tasha. Tasha said that was incredible. Tasha asked if I had considered putting some of it into a new business idea he was developing. I told him I had considered it in the sense that I had just now heard about it, and I had decided not to. Tasha said the opportunity had a first mover advantage. I asked what the business was. Tasha described it. I said I was going to pass. Tasha said that was fair. Tasha's savings account at month 19 was $1,100. Tasha had, in 19 months, increased his savings by $253. He had also launched 4 businesses. He had, on balance, learned more than me. I had, on balance, saved more than him. We were both right about what we were trying to do. The 3 decisions were not secrets. They were sequencing. Money out before you see it. Expensive debt gone before you invest. The right account for the money that is waiting. Nothing else. 19 months, $20,000. A Tuesday. Somewhere right now, someone got their direct deposit. $4,340 in the checking account. The rent is due. The car insurance is due. The streaming services they forgot about are due. The month will begin, and the month will end, and the account will have approximately what it had before, because the default behavior produces the default result. The 3 decisions do not require more income. They do not require a windfall. They require a different order of operations on the same income that is already coming in. Money out before you see it. Expensive debt gone. The right account. The first month is the only month that costs anything. Month 2 is just month 1 happening again automatically. Month 19 is $20,000. The specific number at the end was never the hard part. Month 1 was the hard part. Month 1 costs nothing. It just requires starting. $20,000 in 19 months, $65,000 salary. 3 decisions. No viral side hustle. No Tasha-level entrepreneurial energy. Just a different order of operations on the same money that was already coming in every month. 3 things. Drop a comment. What is the specific number in your savings account right now? Not your net worth, not your investments. The actual number in the account you would use if something went wrong tomorrow. I am asking because the gap between what people say and what that account actually says is the most honest financial data I collect. I reply to every comment in the first hour. If this video made you feel like $20,000 is actually possible on your salary, subscribe and like. Send this to one person who has been meaning to start saving for longer than 3 months. Not because they're doing anything wrong, because month 1 is the only month that actually costs anything. After month 1, the system runs. They just need to have month 1.